Hi, Mike here from Woody and Horlock, here as usual with my co-host Kevin Horlock. Today, got one of my friends who's in recovery, the same as me and Kev. Been in and out a little bit. His name's Simon. He's got a very, very interesting story. So welcome, Simon.
Thank you.
You're going to share your experience, strength and hope today with us.
Sure.
How are you today?
I'm good, yeah. I'm glad to get a chance to do this.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking me.
Oh, pleasure. Obviously.
I'm looking forward to this. It's obviously a little bit different to some we've done, but this podcast is about trying to help people and by sharing your story of what's gone on and the strength you've got from that and the hope you've got for the future can hopefully benefit someone out there.
Because what are you now? How long have you been sober now?
A year, 11 months. I don't know exactly, a few days. So I'm closing in on 2 years.
Well done.
Which it's been an unbelievable experience for me. It's changed me as a person for the better, 100%. But I always like to listen to people with more experiences than me, and hopefully it gives other people, they might relate to it, some of the dark stuff, but hopefully it can help them and see that there is that shimmer of light on the other side, and that's what we're here for, isn't it? So I'm really looking forward to this one.
Nice one.
So I'm actually coming up to 7 years again. After I did 15 years, I had a wobble for one night. I'm coming up to 7 years in May, but don't count me chickens before they're hatched. Your story, Si, where did it all start?
Well, I mean, I was a normal kid, to be honest. You know, there's many people have got reasons for being in addiction. You know, they can put the finger on blame here and there, but, you know, I haven't got that excuse, you know, or not an excuse. I just have, that is not the case with me. I just turned out different, you know, and, you know, just a normal kid, normal family upbringing, no alcoholism in my family, no addiction, you know.
Quite unusual, that, isn't it?
Yeah, quite unusual. Everyone likes to drink.
Yeah.
But, you know, what I know alcoholism and addiction is now today, I understand, you know, that there was no alcoholism in the family, you know, but my uncle, my dad's brother, he was a schizophrenic, right? And I think my parents thought that maybe that was me, you know, because my behaviour was so, I had two personalities, you know, but the truth is that it was one was me when I'm drinking, and one when I'm sober, you know, and that's the definite. And I see a lot of that, you know. I see a lot of that today in alcoholics, in addicts. Do you know what I mean? And you know, from the off, I was in trouble when I picked substances up. You know, I started off with
where were you brought up, Si?
In South Manchester,
right?
You know, and
what area could it?
Around Gatley.
Oh, right,
you know,
yeah.
And used to go away for the summer with all my cousins and all that, you know, it was nice. But, you know, the minute I found a substance, which I started off with solvents.
How old were you at that stage?
12.
Right.
Gas, glue.
At 12?
12. And I wasn't on my own. It's not, you know, it's all the kids did, you know, in my class. And after school, you know, I used to come home with glue all over my blazer where the bag had burst, and my mum told my mum I was out of the woodwork class, you know what I mean? So I'd been making models in the class. And started to get in trouble for it, you know, and then the school phoned up my mum and said that, you know, he's been sniffing glue and sniffing gas and all this. And I just said, you know, everyone does it, it's just a thing, do you know what I mean? But already I was out doing that every night, you know. And the minute the booze come along, you know, I was in trouble in months of starting to drink. Serious trouble, you know. At 16, you know, we went to Abersock, as we did every summer, lovely, you know. And we all went, all the cousins, all playing and all that, you know what I mean? And then at 16, we go and we're drinking. And we get in a fight one night. Some Scousers are there, you know, a mob of them, and there's a mob of us, and we've ended up down some country lane, and they've pulled knives out, and it's on us, you know. And my little brother was with me, he was, say, 14, and my little cousin and his mate, they're 13, they're just a bit too young. And me and my other cousin that are 16, I've had this fight with these kids, and one of them stabbed my cousin in the hand, and he's put his hand on his chest, and thought he stabbed him here, you know, and I've gone after this kid, and I've got hold of him, and I've given him, you know, I've given him with a big fence post, and he's tried to protect his head, and I've hit him, and his fingers have come off, you know, and
shit,
yeah, and there was no getting away with it. It's in a little village in the middle of nowhere, do you know what I mean? And
a posh little village as well.
Posh little village where that sort of thing, you know, is the crime of the century, you know. And my cousin's got to our bungalow where all our parents are, you know, and where we're all staying. He's got this bad cut, and you know, you're miles away from Bala Hospital. You're in the middle of nowhere, do you know what I mean? They phoned an ambulance. The ambulance has come to pick him up, and it's come across this kid who I've leathered in the, you know. So there's no getting away with it. You know, the kid's been taken in the ambulance to where we're staying, and I had to hand myself in, and I ended up going to jail for that.
How old were you? 16?
Well, that was done when I was 16. I was 17 by the time I went to jail. And I'd been drinking a month, you know? Of course, I didn't know I was an alcoholic then. Didn't know what an alcoholic was, do you know what I mean?
That is starting with a bang, that, isn't it?
That is starting with a bang, yeah. And it was downhill all the way from
It's
there.
mad, you're going back, mentioning glue sniffing.
Yeah.
Like, that was a thing back then. I don't know if you're similar age to me or not.
How old do you say?
56.
Yeah, so I'm 53. But I remember playing football on the common where I was brought up, and there was glue sniffers all the time, and I used to be petrified of them. They was a bit older than me, but I'd be trying to play football, think, oh, there's a glue sniffer.
Yeah.
Like, it was
Well, it was the darkness, wasn't it? That it was like
it happened. You don't obviously
scary
don't
thing.
but I imagine people still do it. I imagine.
Yeah.
But people walking around glue sniffing was a thing.
Yeah, it was a scary thing, you know. You know, going back, I can remember waking up in bushes with two of my pals, and one of them was out of the game, like, you know, and the other one said, Johnny, I'm going. And he lifted his head up, and his head was stuck, his face was stuck on the thing. He was sniffing it out, the actual tin. His face was stuck on it.
I remember the lads that were doing it sort of red
all
rashes.
the red rashes, because he had the bag.
What, he nearly died?
Well, he could have.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just got off. Because the thing is, I knew it was wrong, and it felt wrong. And that's the thing, I always knew it all felt wrong. So I had a conscience with it all, this behaviour straight away, but still went against it.
Yeah.
You know.
How long did you serve then, Si, for that?
9 months.
Right.
You know,
where did you serve that?
I got the shock of my life, because I was in Carnarvon Crown Court, and they said, you got a Liverpool prison, mate, Walton. Right? 1987. It wasn't, there was no friendship with Manchester and Liverpool at the time. And although I'm a City fan, but, you know, United and Liverpool were bang at it.
Yeah.
And I shit myself. I thought, what?
So what was you actually charged with? What did they put you down?
Well, I was wounding with intent, which was heavy, and I got done for a fray as well. And I got 9 months for the wounding, and 6 months. I think they dropped the wounding to grievous bodily harm. I got 9 months for that, and then I got 6 months for the affray. Yeah.
Did they have any repercussions? Obviously, they stabbed your cousin.
No, they didn't. They didn't, because I ended up being made the scapegoat, really. You know, which was a bit crooked, really.
Did he get his fingers stitched back on, do you know?
I don't know. I don't know, no. No, it's one of those things. But, yeah, so right from the off, I'm violent.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a violent drinker, you know. And I was chucked in these jails that were just violent. I was in that Walton, and then I was in Stoke Heath, and that was just like a naughty boys prison. 500 inmates in there. One week they come in from Strange Ways, and 1 week they come in from Liverpool, Walton, and it's just carnage. You know, it's half from Manchester and half from Liverpool.
And you're 17, 18.
I'm 17.
So I've watched so many programs on prison. I'm fascinated by it. Some people mention that it scares them to death, and they come straight out. Then others say it just fuels them more, and they get into more stuff because they're in there and mixing with people like that. How was that for you in there?
Well, you was considered like a bit of an idiot, really, if you was in for violence. You know, because there's no money in it.
Right.
Whereas, you know, in this prison in particular, there's a lot were in for violence. Right. It's not like an open prison or anything. It's a proper jail. You know what I mean? But it was like, what? You're in for fighting. Whereas at the time, it was the heroin epidemic. the late 80s, especially in Liverpool, do you know what I mean? And really, everybody was just out trying to get money for the drugs, you know, and the experience with me, especially with the heroin situation, right, was my friends in the area of Gatley, Wythenshawe, Eel Green, you know, the ones that were a couple of years older than me had all got into heroin. And that was the biggest result of my life in a selfish way. Because already at 16, I could see problems that heroin was causing to them. They were gone. At 19, 20, they were gone, you know. And in fact, for the first few months of being 17, just before I went in jail, I had a van. I was driving about. I was doing the markets with my dad, you know, and I'd drive them about, and I'd take them. They'd go shoplifting, you know, the heroin addicts. They'd buy me a couple of bags of weed and put a bit of juice in my van and that, you know, and off. And they never ever offered it me. And it's funny because I go back to this flat where I lived, where I was from in Cheadle, and they're all in there. And I can remember one of them whispering, "Is he having some?" And I'm already thinking, I cannot touch this. I already am aware what I'm like, in a way, you know. I'm sort of aware of my addiction already, you know what I mean? Even though it's not really kicked in, you know. And I thought, I can't touch this shit. And one of them says, no. And years later, this kid who's still on heroin, he's just about the only one left alive. And I say to him, how come you said no that day? And he said, because that would have been the van and the driver gone. You know what I mean? Just like us. How dark's that? So we're going these jails, and everyone's on heroin. There's no other drug in them jails then. There's no spice or anything. It's just heroin. And this kid, my cellmate, says to me, do you take smack? And I said, no. And he goes, yeah, but you do in here, don't you? And I thought, what? And that was the attitude. Yeah, but surely in here you do. And I thought to myself then, if I get through this prison sentence without taking heroin, I'll never take it. And luckily... Did
you come close?
No, never came close. But every cellmate had it in the cell with me. And I never come close. And I just was terrified.
Because you was aware where that would take you?
I knew where that was coming, where that was going to take me.
Yeah.
Never mind them. I knew where it was going to take me. And but, you know, I do... Remember, I don't like... Listen, I've met loads of people, they like prison. They like that whole thing of being institutionalised and fed maybe 3 times a day, mates in there. I didn't like that. You know, I can't sit still. I never have been able to.
God, I couldn't handle that.
Oh, it was horrible. And at the time, there was no toilets in the cells. It was just doing your potty. You know, doing it in a little potty and all that. It was inhumane. It was before the Strangeways riots, which really changed prisons. You know, for the better. As bad as it was, you know, it changed everything. And, you know, you was pretty much banged up all day and it was fucking horrible, you know what I mean? There's no telly like there is now, you know. You're lucky if you got a letter and a newspaper, do you know what I mean? And but I can remember one night, getting in my bed, I felt all right. I felt good. It was strange, you know, and it wasn't the food and it wasn't the bed, you know what I mean? And I couldn't understand what it was. But years later, when I did get clean, I had that same feeling and I realised what that feeling was. That was the first time since I'd started drinking and taking solvents and stuff that I was clean.
Yeah.
That I was living healthily. Do you know what I mean? And I'm still only 17.
Yeah.
And I felt good. And it was a weird thing to say, do you know what I mean?
Some start in it.
Oh, yeah.
Some start in it, yeah. Yeah.
So I bet your parents were devastated then.
Well, they was. And the thing is, if in families where it's down the line, people going to jail and that's what you do and all that, they didn't know any of that. They weren't used to that. They weren't used to any violence. Do you know what I mean? I'd just gone from being a little kid playing football on the park with my mates to this lunatic, basically.
And you put that down to the drink, just...
Without a doubt. Now, you know, looking back at it all now, you know, that behaviour...
Just a different made you a different person.
Then even in that, you know, confused. That 17, you're confused, aren't you? You're going into a boy, into a man. But that drink was in me and I became this, well, clearly. I wasn't put off by the fact that my cousin got stabbed. I'd gone after him on my own.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
It was wild.
So when you came out, what happened then, Si?
When I came out, I thought it was like the national hero, do you know what I mean? All my mates were at the pub waiting for me, you know what I mean? And straight to the boozer, hoping for the Victoria Cross or something, do you know what I mean? And I was the first one out of everybody. Out of me and all my mates, apart from the ones that were older, that were on heroin. Yeah. Out of us lot, our group, I was the first one to go to jail, you know. And
like a badge of honour.
Yeah, like a badge of honour. But what had happened is, in that time that I was in, the sort of culture had changed. And I've always like sort of followed the culture of being a mank, you know what I mean? Like really. And the raves had started. The hacienda had started. All that had started. And drinking wasn't the done thing. Taking pills was, you know, and taking acid. And, you know, there's no sign of cocaine at this point, you know what I mean? And what had happened basically is that in the area that I was from, it had splintered into two. One group who took heroin had gone that way, and the other group who were into the rave scene, do you know what I mean? And that's what I did. And I knew I couldn't live at home because I, like everything I do, I wanted to be full blast on this. You know what I mean? I was coming home soaking wet from being in a rave all night, absolutely drenched. My mum thought I was going swimming at night, you know what I mean? Just piles of wet clothes in the corner of the room, you know, like every night. Where's he going swimming? You know, but we weren't.
I should
we
laugh, it's not even funny, is it? But, you know.
It was, you know. And I can't sit here and say they were all bad days because they were great days, do you know what I mean?
Were you working or anything? Were you on a job or anything?
Minimally. Yeah. It's the only thing I've ever done in moderation is work, do you know what I mean? Like, you know. At that time, you see, me and my mate, he got a gaff and he had his act together and he bought an house and we all moved into this house, big townhouse in Stretford. Really? They had basements in it and we filled it with all the...
How many of you were living in there?
About 6 of us. All record decks and speakers in there and all that. And we basically, it was like, we lived on top of a rave, basically. Club, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And he's a painter and decorator and he's out grafting and all that, you know, and he'd have the odd night. But I did it the other way. He'd have 6 days working and 1 day partying. I had 1 day working to make sure I had enough to do my 6 days partying, do you know what I mean? And
it's mad, you know, I lived in a house with 3 mates, 4 of us. In my early 20s, it was just the same.
Just like that.
Space Invaders and all sorts. It was fucking mad.
It was brilliant. You know, so one night we had a rave in there and we had a smoke machine and all that. And it was full of people who didn't even know. The front door was just open, you know what I mean?
It was.
Just full of strangers. It didn't matter, you know.
Mad.
And in this basement, you know, health and safety, fucking hell, it was unbelievable. And my mate, his job was just to keep his finger on the smoke machine. And we had strobes in there and all that, you know, and disco lights. And it was just like, everyone was out their heads. And at one point, this torch comes in front of me. And it's a fucking fireman. And he says, "Where's the smoke machine?" So he's gone over to where the record decks are. He's like with the torch. He said, "Get the smoke machine out now." You know,
and how old are you? Is he about 18?
Take the smoke machine out. And next thing, about 10 minutes later, I forgot about him. 10 minutes later, the torch comes back and the geezer says to me, "How'd you get out? Is the fireman still stuck down there? Can't get out." And now the smoke starts to lift. And as it lifts, you can just duck down. You can see everyone's legs there, you know. And my mate who's DJing, Scully, my mate, he's DJing, and he says, "Where's that torch?" You know, I can't see the records, he's putting them on, you know what I mean?
What's more the fireman's torch?
Yeah, it must have been the fireman's torch.
That's not Scully,
Yeah, Scully.
Oh, Scully. What did he... I mean, I'm older than you see, so was he in some sort of band?
No. He wasn't in a band.
I know the name, though. He's
well known.
He's a bit of a boy.
Big City fan and all that. He did work for City.
Yeah.
Big friends with Noel and that, you know.
Yeah, right, yeah. Knows the Gallagher.
We all grew up together, you know. This group of lunatics, really, you know. And HQ was this house in Stretford. Yeah. HQ. Minimal work, maximum party. Yeah. But it wasn't a problem then. And that's not just in our group, do you know what I mean? That is not. But what was a problem was that the odd occasional night we'd have a drinking night. And the difference in the 2 nights was day and night, you know.
What violence?
Violence. Just, it kicked off.
Yeah.
Right? And it was like a couple of pints in us, and it was the sole purpose. And there was plenty who were the same as us as well. And, you know, I knew the difference in them nights, and I knew the difference in me. you know.
I mean, you're watching City as well at this stage, aren't
Yeah, we're all City mad.
Right.
You know, and we're all, you know, going everywhere with City. And I suppose when the raving sort of kicked in, City went a bit on the back burner.
Right, yeah.
Because you couldn't afford to do it all, do you know what I mean? Especially when you're working 3 hours a week, you know what I mean? You know? So, you know, on minimum wage. So, you know.
So how long did the Stretford house last then?
It lasted.
How long were you there for?
I kept having to go back. You know, you get out of it. Like, it was drawn like a magnet drawing you back, you know what I mean?
Did you, no relationships or just one night stands and stuff?
Didn't have time for relationships. Didn't really want a bird. We're too busy. If a bird come and tried to talk to you out in a rave or a club, get the fucking hump, you know what I mean? What do you
really?
want?
So was sex not massive for you then? No. All right, that was...
No, it just wasn't interesting.
That was mine was like, that was
I mean, don't get me wrong, that's something, I suppose, that comes with all the addiction, you know, but at that time,
it
was the last thing on the list.
Right, wow.
I wanted to go home, and I did quite often go home and play tunes all night in my room, on my own, dancing off my head, taking more pills. I couldn't stop. I didn't want to stop.
You was taking ease, is that what you mean?
And acid.
Right.
And speed.
Right.
They were the things that were on the table at the time, you know.
LSD,
yeah.
Yeah.
That was a Wednesday thing.
Oh, I only took that once. It was not for me.
We used to take it once a week minimum. But we used to go up to the woods on it.
Did you ever try LSD?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God. The paper ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get them in strips of 10.
Cheap and cheerful.
Yeah.
About £3 a go
I
at the
had
time.
a little stint on them, yeah. I was young as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully my dad's not watching it. Yeah. I'd moved to Swindon, actually. And people I know, we used to take them regular.
So strong.
I used to sit and laugh at the telly, like watching job adverts come up and that. Yeah, mental.
Mental. And, you know, there was a lot of mental illness. You know, I seen mental illness around drugs a lot.
Yeah.
And I certainly went to the brink with it, you know, and one of my mates did actually, you know, he had one and didn't come back. Right. Martin, bless him, you know, he lost it.
Right. Died.
Well, eventually he did. He took his own life, actually, but there was years of torment.
But just sent him crazy.
Sent him crazy. But it turns out he was from another area, from Stoke, and he'd come to us. And I mean, this geezer, he had the lot to look at. He was a male model.
Right.
Had all this hair, right, and like he was on adverts on TV and all that, right. He was the coolest geezer going, you know. He'd been in London. He was we were all mad on football hooligans, you know, and he was an Arsenal hoolie. And he was dead smart and all that, you know. And but we didn't know that he'd had mental health issues in the past. You know, you'd have never known it. Anyway, there was a rave. One of the first raves in Manchester was called Joy, and it was in the valleys in Rochdale. And Anthony Donnelly and that put it on. It was a legend.
Anthony's a good mate of mine, by the way. He's a good mate of mine.
You know, he's got Manchester's got a lot to thank him for in the culture of acid house. Do you know what I mean? Because
did you ever meet Anthony?
No,
brilliant lad. Yeah. You know, he had his finger in all sorts of pies, and he put this thing on, and it was minimal what they had there. Do you know? I mean, that was the thing in them days. You could just do it with a sound system in a field, and that was it.
Yeah.
And while it was still dark, they had like this searchlight thing, and everyone's dancing about and all that, and they've all had acid. And someone's got on Martin with this searchlight, and he's gone like a rabbit in the headlights. And well, the geezers thought, "Oh yeah, I've got one here," and just followed him everywhere. And he's trying to hide and all that, you know, and he won't let him go. Do you know what I mean? And he's like, "Oh, well, it done him." You know, it done him, stayed on him for about 2 hours, and that's it. He never come back, really. You know, and so I saw the damage that even what we would call the recreational drug.
So is it like psychosis with it?
Complete psychosis.
Yeah.
It done him, yeah. And he was never the same fella.
Wow.
And he lived with us in Stretford, you know. Yeah. There was those days he was going out, like I say, with nothing.
How many people lived in the house then? How many people were there?
Well, 6, like, as a rule.
Regulars.
6 regulars, yeah. You know, and guests.
Yeah.
You know. But there wasn't a lot of kip.
How many years were you at that?
There was a few years that house was going like that, you know. There was probably stretched up to 4 or 5 years.
So that took you to like that was just mad times up to you about
But
23?
there was times when we'd fuck off to Tenerife or something for a year.
All right.
And stuff like that. Right. With the best of intentions, to go and do time share and stuff. But
you said about the lad that said about you being the driver and all that. Yeah. So you obviously took the route acid house and the Heron. You said he's the only one left.
Yeah.
Well, they're all dead.
Yeah, all dead.
How many people are we talking here?
More than 20.
Wow.
Of a group of people that are friends, knock around.
That were all friends, right? 10 and another 10. Because what happened was...
Wow. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
The older group, say 10 of them, right?
Yeah.
They got into it, had an effect on us, on my age, right? Yeah. We saw it for ourselves. The example was already there. None of my age got into it. The ones a few years younger than me, like my cousin, and his age...
I hadn't seen it all.
Hadn't seen it with us lot.
Yeah, so then...
They all got into it. And they did it, but my cousin one day said to me, just caught me one day, and he said, hey, you know what we do? We take heroin after we've been out raving. I said, what? Are you joking? I said, you can't do that, mate. You can't do that. Oh, no, we don't take it a lot. He said, just at weekends. I said, it's heroin, mate. There is no messing about. I said, it'll take you to the cleaners. I wish you hadn't told me. Just at the time, they were just smoking it, I said, you can't fuck about with that, mate. And sure enough, within no time, weeks, they weren't coming raving no more. And the whole group of them was exactly the same
as the group that
that was older, right? But they're just a few years behind. These lot are all injecting by now. Big jail sentences and all the rest of it that comes with that drug, and this lot are just sort of going on the way. But, it was sad to see, but that had a big impact in my recovery as well.
Did your cousin, is he still with us? Or?
Yeah. He got clean.
Oh, good.
Thankfully, and that had a massive effect on me because I've gone on this now rampage, if you like, for the next 10 years, where the raving scene has changed. It's more the cocaine's arrived. Do you know what I mean? And it's now back on the booze, And I always remember thinking, and I loved it, by the way, but I always thought, do you know what? The minute the coke comes out, the laughter stops. The happiness sort of is drawn out of the group, We can all be in the pub, we can all on a Sunday. I know most people used to go to the pub on a Sunday and have a roast dinner or something and a few pints. We'd all go and have an E. And everyone would be happy. But the minute the sniff come out, the laughter stopped. It was everyone's snarling. All the birds think they're porn stars. All the geezers think they're 10 men, do you know what I mean? And it was like, it was a dark drug.
Yeah, no fun in that.
No fun in that. By now, my boozing, I'm already sick of myself. The minute I started drinking again, I started getting in trouble again.
And how old are you now?
Violent. Early 20s.
Right, okay.
And I'm getting into fights all the time, right? The whole group's gone violent. The combination of the cocaine, the alcohol, violence, right? That's what's happening now. And I'm getting nicked all the time. I'm always in court. I'm always at probation. The police are driving my mum and dad potty. They're constantly at their house, do you know what I mean? And my mum's just like, they know. I'm not shy about it. I'm not hiding the fact what I am. I wear it on my sleeve, do you know what I mean? And I'm bowling about like an absolute maniac, and even when we're going out raving, we're fighting now. Groups of us, in gaffs in Manchester. And, people are getting locked up all the time for stuff, and me as well, And we're going to Europe. We were very fortunate. We had a good ways of earning a living.
Dealing?
Not even doing that. I was the worst drug dealer in the world.
Were you?
Oh, you could give me an absolute parcel. I won't sell fucking any of it.
Take it all yourself?
Absolutely take the lot myself, yeah. I never had the money to pay anybody. I can honestly say, hand on heart, I was the shittest drug dealer in the world.
How were you making your money then, sir?
Well, my dad, he worked on the markets right, all his life and in exhibitions. He was a cockney, my dad. Really loved my dad. My dad was a brilliant fella. And he couldn't understand it with me.
Not with us anymore, your dad, is he not?
No.
No.
But he couldn't understand why I wanted to fuck about, be in the pub. I can remember I'm dead embarrassed about it. I still to this day, I can remember saying to him, I can earn a living here, Dad, in the pub. You know, selling drugs or whatever. And he just looked at me and went, and I had opportunities other kids didn't have, do you know what I mean? He wanted me to work with him. And we'd be on you know, on a stall on a microphone, big crowd round and all that. And I fucking loved it and I was good at it. And there'd be periods where that's what I did, you know, and I got into it and I could earn money. And it sort of coincided with the cocaine, you know, because a big load of coke and get on the thing with the microphone and I earn money and the ego and all that, you know, on the stage with a big crowd in front of me, you know what I mean? And full of coke.
The market.
Yeah, on the market. It's fucking great. I had a drawer where the money went, like actually taking it. And sometimes I just open the drawer and I had them racked out on there. And back up it all on my nose.
You got a laugh, haven't you?
You know, my mate laughs at me all over your face and big crowd like that. So money wasn't really a problem. Another thing we could do is we were involved in working tickets, selling tickets at concerts, at football and T-shirts. And, you know, one of the lads would get a van and we'd all jump in it and we'd fuck off to Europe for fucking 6 months.
Right.
And it was brilliant. And again, you thought it was all right because we're just young lads getting about. And
Quite exciting, isn't it?
It's exciting. Saw the world. It was our it was our university, really. And it was great. But the first thing I packed in my bag was my alcoholism, you know, and as soon as I got there, it's like I unpacked my bag and it was straight into the jails there.
Where did you go inside there?
Oh, everywhere. In Munich, 4 times in a year in a jail, in the same jail in Munich. Fella says to me,
I shouldn't be laughing, but it's...
Well, he said to me, there's people in Munich have never been to prison. He said, you have been here 4 times this year. You know?
What did you get, like a month there and a month there?
A couple of weeks here, and you know, sometimes. One night they fucking opened the door, thinking, oh, and they put me in a cell. And there's 20 of my mates. Everyone had been nicked. You know, we're all sat in the same cell. I'll have a team photo outside afterwards. You know, like like the 11, like you know, all kneeling on the front.
We've just won the Premiership.
Yeah. But you know, sometimes the van couldn't wait for you. You'd fuck off. You know what I mean? To the next city, and they'd take all your money off you and let you out, and you've got to fucking like use
But you have
your
to catch up with the lads and
catch up with the lads.
Find out where they are.
Yeah. It was fucking madness. But the thing is, everybody was the same. You know, I was probably a bit worse than most because I'm now drinking round the clock. I just thought I was in Ibiza, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just absolutely getting up in the morning on the piss. Not even getting an hotel, especially in Germany. Just getting in them all-night bars. Save money on a hotel, didn't it? Just sitting, you know, the shutters come up, you know, when they change from morning till,
Spend the money on drink instead of the hotel room, yeah.
That's it. Just lagging, and there was plenty of others who were willing to do it as well, you know.
And how many years did you do all this?
This for years. This is sort of, this whole thing is going from a period of being like 21 to 27.
Right.
And, you know, you might come back for a little bit and...
So no long relationships, no girlfriends for...
No. And then I got a girlfriend, like, you know, and and I thought, right, I'll try and get my shit together.
Did you?
No. And she's every bird I ever had to do what I did.
Yeah, of course.
Right? No good to me. You want to go to bed at 10 o'clock, it's fucking watch Coronation Street. You know, there's no chance. You've got to be able to sit up and fucking snort cocaine all fucking night and go straight into the British Legion in Northern on a Monday morning, you know, for the Monday Club. Otherwise, you're no value to me. And the mad thing is, there was plenty of them about, you know, and anyway, moved into a flat in Northern and she got pregnant, but I'm nuts now. I'm fucking nuts. I'm always in court, like I say, you know, and I'm sort of just about getting away with things and getting community service and not just about staying out, you know. And I'm thinking, have this baby, that'll be me. I'll be sorted, right? And the night she gave birth to my first daughter, it was the happiest night of my life, but I went straight out, load of coke, in the boozer, and did what you do. Wet the baby's head.
Wet the baby's head, yeah.
Wet the baby's head, as legend has it, you know what I mean? And, you know, I'd already had 2 major trials. Oh, no, I was on my second one. I'd got not guilty on the first one for something, and now I'm on another one. And this was heavy. You know, this was, we'd allegedly gone round to the heroin dealers because they don't do what we do.
Right.
We take cocaine, not heroin, you know. And we've gone round to them all, you know, and that's what it was alleged we'd done and you know, beat them all up and done all this and all that, you know. And we were looking at more jail than I could do, do you know what I mean? And anyway, we got acquitted again. And I swore, this is it. I can remember the night before, I was crying, holding my baby, you know, big drama. Saying, if I get away with this, I'll never, ever drink or do that again. And the next day I went...
As soon as you were acquitted?
As soon as I was acquitted.
Back on it?
Turned round in the dock to the police, all like that. Yes. And walked out and went on the piss.
It's just such an alcoholic habit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Andy Morrison was saying he did 3 months without a drink because it looked like he was going to get a really long sentence.
Yeah.
Got off with it. Great lawyer. Come out, got smashed and got arrested the same night.
Yeah, got arrested within 4 hours, he said.
Yeah, but 4 hours of getting acquitted, just mad, innit?
Typical.
I know.
And, you know, there's no reason why that wouldn't have happened to me.
But we believe it when we're promising it, don't we?
Yeah.
We actually believe it. Don't I promise.
Well, I saw a look in my dad's eyes. Because I come back and I went, not guilty. And he just looked at me, seen I'd already been on the piss.
Yeah.
And he went, right, son, so what are you going to do? And I went, yeah, sweet, get stuck into work now, you know, and all that. He'd heard it all before.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And, you know, that's not what happened. I didn't go and get stuck into work. I got more and more stuck into the drugs and the booze. And
what about you, daughter and you?
Well, you know, I was, by now, I'm going into blackout now when I'm drinking, you know. And I don't really want to be this way. And the way I see it is, as long as I sniff cocaine, it's like a tool for me drinking, you know. I don't want to be drunk because I'm absolute nuisance, right?
Straighten you up a little bit.
I want to be straight, right? But I want to drink as well. Yeah. And I want to smoke weed as well. And I want to do this in the pub. And it's costing me about 300 quid to stay sober in a pub. Do you know what I mean? It's not working.
And how are you funding that at the time? So.
I've got to work in the mornings, but I don't drink and drive, I say, you know what I mean? But the truth is, I sit up drinking till 2 in the morning and get up at 6. Right? So I am drink driving. I have a line of Coke in the morning to go to the market, right? I don't have a drink till 11 o'clock on the market. I try and get the stall outside the pub, by the way, if I can. 11 o'clock, I'll have a livener. By 1 o'clock, I'm absolutely itching, right? And we try and get off the market and finish and get back to the booze.
Are you still working with your dad now? Or are you,
no, I'm on my own.
On your own now, yeah. What sort of stuff are you dealing in on the market?
Tools and stuff like that you demonstrate. Right. You know, so it was all about using your gob, you know, and like the QVC stuff, do you know what I mean? Shopping channels, all that kind of gear, right? And come back to the boozer and just get absolutely smashed again. But like I say, I'm thinking because I've now got a baby, as long as I sniff, I won't get drunk. But of course, something gives. You've had 14 pints of Stella and an 8 for cocaine and smoked loads of weed. You're up, down, side.
What about your missus at the time?
Well, she's a drinker as well. She can't wait to come to the pub.
Right.
But the problem is I'm blacking out on the couch. Yeah. I'm wetting myself. Jessie said to me,
baby and
I've got a baby. She said, you've pissed on the couch more than the baby has this week. You know what I mean? And I'm 28 or something like that. 29, sorry, I am. Right? And I'm bloated. I'm overweight. I look like a piss can. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, I thought to myself, something has got to give here because I'm going against what I want to do now. My cousin, who was on heroin, up to this point, he'd been, you know, I used to go out and try and help him, do you know what I mean? And I'd take him back to my house and wash him up and put some clean clothes on. By the way, he come from a really good home and all that, right? His mum, dad in Eel Green. There was never any reason, just like me, right? I used to look down my nose at him because he was on heroin.
It's mad. Like, you needed as much help as he was giving him.
Well, that's probably why I did it, because it made me feel a bit better about myself.
Blind leading the blind,
of course. You know, looking down on it, just like that's why we went and done the heroin dealers. You know, made us feel better about ourselves when we were what we were, which was cocaine addicts, alcoholics, violent, bullies, you know. And, you know, he'd been terrible. He'd no chance for him. Anyway, he's gone in rehab. He's been in a few. But he's gone in rehab and he's come out and he's clean. And he said to me, you need to go to the fellowships. I was like, yeah, of course I do. You know? He said, that's what you need. He said, you, more than anyone I've ever met, will benefit from it. I went, yeah, I'll come. Yeah, I ain't going nowhere, you know? It's all about me.
And you're 28, are you?
29.
Now? 29 now.
Yeah,
right,
I'm coming up to my 30th birthday. So I thought, I'll show you all, right? I'll stop on my own. And I stopped for about a month. And I just smoked weed. I didn't have any coke. I didn't have any booze. It never left me mind, right? And the thing is, with, you know, I thought an alcoholic had to drink every day.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I didn't, because I did drink most days.
Yeah.
But sometimes if the shit really hit the fan, which it often did, on a Monday, right, I'd say, that's it. And I wouldn't drink. And I'd be rattling. And I wouldn't sniff. But I'm rattling me back out, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's a bit, got the itch, you know what I mean? It's not, didn't seem as bad what I'd done last week now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, Friday
It's
I'm back
worn
in
off.
there. Yeah. Saturday, I'm doing something worse than what I did the week before, do you know what I mean? I could never stay stopped.
The cycle of addiction.
The cycle of addiction, which I didn't know at the time, right? So I still always try to convince myself I'm not an addict, even though deep down I'd known since I was a kid. Do you know what I mean? And anyway, I decided to stop for a month. And then it's my birthday, my 30th, right? And we're going out. Who's not going to drink on the 30th birthday? My missus wants me to. She's forgot, you know? And I went out and 3 pints in, I'd gone. I'd blacked out and the things I did that night were terrible, you know. And I ended up back at my mate's flat, me and him and my missus and his missus. And we've had a fight with each other. And you know the knife blocks? They've got like 6 handles sticking out, all the same. We've both picked one out each. But his is dead longer, mine's only that big. And we've had a sword fight, basically, you know what I mean? And I've stabbed him. And by now, my missus has already phoned the
But
police.
we're not talking about messing around. You're actually
We're proper fighting.
going
It's
at it.
like a boxing ring, this hall, the lounge, and we're actually going at it with the knives, and I've stuck it in him. And don't know what I'm doing. The police have come, they've nicked me, right? And I don't really, because of a blackout, I don't really know what happened after that, but I've ended up in hospital, getting my head stitched up, because I must have been fighting with the police in the cell, driving them mad, you know? And I'm pressing the buzzer, and I'm abusing them, and you know, anyway, in the morning I wake up, and I can't remember it, I can remember having the knife in my hand. And I pressed the buzzer, and I'm covered in blood, and I said to them, you know, what am I charged with? And they went, you've not been charged yet, but I'll just tell you that Andrew, my mate, passed away this morning, and you'll be questioned for murder. And I just went, what? And I just sunk into me this, that was probably shock, right? And the truth of the matter is, I hadn't killed him. They told me that because I'd driven him mad, right? But they left me with it for a couple of hours, right? And it didn't come as a surprise to me either, right? All I could think about was my cousin telling me, you know, I'm not thinking about my mate Andrew. I learned a lot about myself that morning, what a selfish bastard I am. He had a daughter. I was thinking about my daughter, never going to see her dad. I was thinking about his mum and my mum and dad, not his mum and dad.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't even thinking about my mate.
Yeah.
Just thought about me. So self-obsessed. And anyway, a couple of hours, and I kept thinking about my cousin saying, you should have come to the meetings. You should come to the fellowship. And it was too late. Fucked it. And a couple of hours later, they put someone in a cell with me. And I thought they wouldn't have done that. You know, if I'd have killed him. You know, and I didn't have a paper suit on. And I started to sober up, pressed the buzzer, what am I charged with? And they said, well, you'll be questioned for this. And it wasn't that.
What did they charge you with on the other side?
Well, they didn't charge me because they didn't press charges.
Right. Wow.
Right, because he's just daft like me, do you know what I mean? Just shrugged it off.
And what did he have to just get stitched up, or what was it?
Yeah, well, it was in his hand here, and he got stitched up. And but But I was charged with whatever I was charged with, whatever they could charge me with at the time. And I walked out of that police station that day, and there was a bit of me wanted to go in the pub. But there was another bit of me that knew what I had to do was get hold of my cousin. And that's what I did.